I'm going to be changing the differential fluid in the ZL1 diff. This is what the service manual calls for that axle. That axle is a 250 millimeter axle. That's the part number on my bottle. That's the number you want if you're in Canada. Here's some identifying numbers. The instructions seem simple enough. You raise, support the vehicle. Of course, it's got to be on a level surface. And it says to remove the fill plug and then remove the drain plug into a suitable container. The reason they tell you to remove the fill plug first is if you can't take that out and you've already drained the oil, you're screwed. So we'll get to the quantities here in a little bit. This is on the driver's side of the differential. You can see the axle right there. Here's the pinion coming out to the drive line. So that's where you're going to find them, and they are 3/8 drive, so all they take is a ratchet to loosen them, and hopefully they're loose. So this is how I'm doing my car. I just pulled it up on some wood, and I've got a little bit of a ledge in my driveway. Seems to have enough space underneath, minimally, to do this. I was going to put it up on the ramps and put a bunch of blocks under the rear wheels, but yeah, actually I just didn't have enough travel on the jack to make the car level. This way the car is still level. Let's take a look underneath. Okay, so we're on the driver's side, and that is the drain plug. That's the front of the car. And that is the fill plug. You can see there's square drive. A 3/8 should fit on it pretty well. I don't know if I can get my oil pan under here. I should be. If not, I'll use something from the kitchen. I do want to mention that I was able to loosen the fill plug. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that out now. I did drive the car around to get it to normal operating temperature, which isn't very hot. Ooh, there's some, looks like there's some goop on there. I'll take a look at that in a minute. Oh, this stuff stinks. I hate the smell of gear oil. That's just coming out the fill hole. So I did want to mention that the car is in gear with the emergency brake on. And I didn't loosen that up enough by hand. I gotta turn the camera off. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this doesn't go shooting out too far. The exhaust isn't hot. The diff really isn't very hot either. I just literally just pulled in about 10 minutes ago. Ooh, yeah, that's time to replace that. So there's 16,000 miles on the car, but I know that Alan, the previous owner, had it changed at some point. I'd have to look at the service record. But it looks like it was due again. We're going to let that drip for a while. Well, I was going to do an oil sample and send it to Peterson Tractor, the cat dealer, for analysis, but I pretty much know it's going to come back no bueno, because I don't have a baseline with them. So this is all magnetic metal particles that stick into the magnet. Gonna clean those up. That's probably normal. You're gonna have some wear. There's no big chunks that I see, but we will inspect the oil. Clean those up, get that all drained, and put them back in. These drain plugs, they have a magnet, but they also have a rubber seal that's embedded into it. You may want to, slippery sucker. You may want to avoid spraying these with brake clean. Might not be good for that rubber, I don't know. I don't know what kind of rubber it is. It's probably nitrile, but I just wiped them off good. And these are steel going into a cast iron housing. That's the ZL1. The SS, the aluminum housing, you may want to consider a little bit of anti-seize, and I mean very little. You don't want any of that in your oil. Probably not going to be good for the limited slip. Just enough to keep it from reacting dissimilar metals, you know, steel with aluminum. I don't know if these might be stainless. If they're stainless, it would be okay. I can't tell by looking. They're possibly stainless, but maybe not. Anyway, I'm going to put the bottom one back in, and then we're going to go ahead and fill it. Well, I figure I better mention it first before I get under there and forget about it. We will be tightening the fill and drain plug to 24 foot-pounds or 33 Newton meters, whichever one you guys want to use. All right, let's get to it. Clean that off. That way the rubber seal on the plug will have a nice clean surface. Move this out of the way gently. I don't like splashing that crud all over. You could use an inch-pound wrench. There it is. And multiply 24 inch-pounds by 12. Or I'm sorry, 24 foot-pounds by 12 and get the inch-pounds. I think it would be 288 if I do my math in my head right. So, got oil on my book. So it's going to take 2.22 quarts for the ZL1 rear axle, and we already determined the part number, LS, and that's it. So this stuff is about $20 a quart. You might be able to find it for less. Some people may want to flush their rear end out and drain and refill. Completely up to you. I'm just going to drain and refill. I did warm up the fluid good to get all the particles in suspension right before I drained it. So hopefully I got the majority of the junk out. We'll just have to change more often. So let's get to filling it. This is what I got from our local Napa. It's supposed to fit these quart jugs. A little hand pump, make it a little easier to put the fluid in. Obviously you can't just pour it in, so let's try this out. Looks like we're gonna have to cut that to length. So we did not have to trim that little piece. It's just coming in and kind of going down like that. So we have to keep that in mind when we gotta tilt it a little bit when we get toward the end of the bottle. So we have our fill tube going into the fill hole and the pump. And it's not too bad. It's pretty easy to just push down and it goes in. I did put the drain pan underneath just in case this thing comes flying out, or once I get close to full, it might just start coming out the fill hole. So that's all there is to it. 2 1/4 quarts in the ZL1 diff, and we should be good. That's a little bit better view. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. There we go. Pump's really easy. It's not hard or difficult, so it shouldn't be a problem for you. Okay, bottle number 2. And this one went in pretty good. So to get the 1/4 of a quart, these are nice because it'll show you how much you're using. So we'll just pump in down to the 1/4 mark, and then we'll call it good. Oh, yeah. Pump away. That's all there is
do it.
All right, so this is a quart and 32 ounces to a quart, and there are ounce graduations on the side of the bottle. So we need 2 1/4 quarts in the rear diff, 2.22, which is 2 1/4 basically. So we are going to go down to the 26 ounce mark, which is right in between the 24 and the 28. So when we reach there, we should be good. Let's see how that goes. So one interesting note, it says when checking the lubricant level, and this is for all of the differentials, that it should be even with the bottom of the fill plug hole and no lower than 6 millimeters below the opening. So I added some more fluid because it wasn't coming out the fill hole. So I actually got down to 20. So I used 12 ounces instead of 8 in order to get it to come out the fill hole. So I just let it come out the fill hole and dribble onto an absorbent pad, some paper towels, and so yeah, I would not go by the 2 1/4 alone. Just make sure the car is on a level surface, it's nice and level, and fill it up to the fill hole, and you should be good, according to their instructions anyway. Okay, I guess that's it. All right, so we got that all buttoned up, 24 foot-pounds. I'm just gonna wipe down the exhaust. I'm sure it's gonna smoke a little bit because a little bit of the oil spilled on it. And that's it, it's done. The only thing left to do is to drive the car and clean my phone because it's covered in gear oil, and properly dispose of this. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys got something out of it. I enjoy doing them. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share my videos. Thank you. Have a good night.